G'day and welcome to the Master Analyser. We've just come through now the final rounds prior to the semi-finals, and last night obviously India and Namibia was the last game, albeit that it really didn't have any meaning for the outcomes of semi-finals and finals, but nonetheless a game to be analysed. But firstly, a quick thank you to you the viewers who have been enjoying hopefully all our analysis and will continue to do so through the semi-finals and finals. Thank you again to our analysts, Crick Heroes and All Out Cricket, and to our sponsors, Launch Tea, that hitting tea Australian product, very, very useful for young children and upwards from there. And as we saw young Adzguru demonstrating so beautifully with the session last evening, and of course to echo look of India, Adzguru, our marketing and advertising support, and of course we couldn't do without Ready Steady Go Kids, Australian product for 1.5 to 6-year-old children, helping their growth and development skills prior to them going to school. It really is a very, very good product that has seen it spread right throughout Australia and to at least 15 countries around the world now. And if you would like to be part of the Ready Steady Go family, please look at the website or go to reach us at adzguru.com.au and place your expression of interest to become a franchise owner. A wonderful business opportunity in India, and we would like to hear from you to become part of this family and this growing product called Ready Steady Go Kids of India, which is so good for young children and their development and their long life health. But let's move from our sponsors to the first section, which is all about our scoreboards. And again, a great thank you to Crick Heroes, who have been providing all the scoreboards and data for our Master Analyser program. They've been a fantastic supporter. If you get the chance, jump online to Crick Heroes and have a look at how it provides scoring opportunities, online scoring opportunities, but more, it also can provide you actual live streaming of your particular cricket match. So it's got a lot to offer. Jump online to Crick Heroes. So yes, to crickheroes.in scoreboards, and we see that the usual story, Namibia batted first with India to chase, and Namibia's batting staggered throughout the course of the innings, and they finished with 8 for 132. Some contributions, double-figure contributions by their various batsmen, but from an Indian bowling perspective, again, the spin trio of Chakravarti, Ashwin and Jadeja were significant in terms of keeping Namibia to that scoreline, as well as Bumrah taking 2 for 19 from his 4 overs. But Jadeja and Ashwin walked away with the bowling figures, each taking 3 wickets. So 132 for 8. The scoreline was meaningless, net run rate meaningless, because India could no longer qualify, but nonetheless India went about their task very, very professionally, and it really shows that if they had this type of game and energy and attitude and delivery of their skills right at the beginning of the tournament, then things could be far different as we march into the semi-finals. But Rahul again put together his 54 from 36, saw the innings through when they finished it in the 16th over. Sharma again, exceptional, 56 from 37, and Surikar Yadav came in with his 26 from 19 to finish the innings off, and a good way to finish for India for the tournament. Disappointing, obviously, that they did not make the semi-finals, and we will have a look at that through all that cricket data. But nonetheless, once India got their game going, they look unstoppable, just too late. So I'm sure you'll agree there are some interesting insights and analysis of India's performance through the tournament, and I'm sure it either supported or certainly gave you some further food for thought about why India ended up playing the way that they did. So thanks again to allthatcricket.com for providing that data and that analysis. So as we said, this was India's last game in the T20 World Cup, and it, I think, is important to have a little bit of a glance back at possibly why India didn't progress through to the semi-finals. And to do so, we've really asked allthatcricket.com through Krishna Tunga to have a closer look at what the data said and maybe supporting some of the theories that everybody has, because everybody will have lots of different reasons why India didn't make it through. And let's have a look at some of that data that shows why India didn't make it through to that semi-final. So we'll go to the share screen, and so here we are with the look at India's progression through the rounds, which meant that in the end they didn't qualify to the Super 12. And we'll look at batting comparisons between the teams that they played. The so-called top teams, which was Pakistan and New Zealand, and the so-called bottom teams, which was Afghanistan, Scotland and Namibia, in their pool. And if you follow my cursor, that will be the best guide to looking at what I am discussing. So over here we have the various teams that India played, and across the top we have our various indicators of performance. So if we look at India's performance against the top two teams, first of all Pakistan and New Zealand, and we go across the top line, you'll see that these numbers, the average runs per over, scoring rate is the number of balls from which they were able to score from those that were delivered to them. So 61% means that every bit over every 6 in 10 balls they were scoring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So 6 in 10 balls, which means in 120 balls roughly that's 72 deliveries. Then the boundary rate, 12% of the balls faced. The number of overs where they were able to score 6 plus consecutively. So one over they might score 6, the next over they score 7, the next over they score 8. So from those 3 overs you would have 2 overs that are consecutive in terms of the number of overs that they were able to score 6, so a bit over 50%. And then here's the percentage of overs that they were able to score totally that were over 6. So there we have it. We look at Pakistan across the top, 61%, 12%, 55%, and nearly 70% of the overs that they faced they were able to score 6 plus. Whereas when we look at their performance against New Zealand, it was significantly lower again. Only 55% of the balls were they able to score from. Their boundary rate was lower. Their consecutive number of overs of 6 plus was very low, and so was their total number of 6 plus overs. So that was in Pakistan and New Zealand. Have a look at what's happening when they played the lower teams. So their averages have gone up immeasurably. Their runs per over immeasurably. Their scoring rates significantly higher. Boundary rates and so on. Till we get consecutive 6 plus overs against Namibia, it's up to 91%, and of the 6 plus overs there was nearly every over, admittedly they were short games, but were 6 plus. If we looked at their phases, similar sort of story. So here is our phases, the first 6 overs, which is your power play, then 7 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20. And as we move across the table again, look at our runs per over against Pakistan is 6, our scoring rate 45%, our boundary rate 13, 14%, and our consecutive 6 is a third. But look down a little bit lower and we begin to see the differences once again. You know, an average of 94.5 in the first 6 overs in your power play. Wow, what a difference. 66% scoring rate, 28% boundary rate, 66% consecutive 6 overs and so on. So just amazing differences, and if you summed it all up, you'd see that overall against Afghanistan, Scotland and Namibia, there's your total, an average of 87, runs per over at 10, and if we flick back up, we see, you know, the average against New Zealand, Pakistan was only 18.6. Let's flip to the bowling side very quickly, and again, much the same type of story. So against Pakistan, New Zealand, Indian bowlers were giving up 8 runs and over. They were being scored from nearly 70% of the balls that they were bowling. The boundary rates were 15%. Their ability to bowl consecutive overs of 5 or under was only 5%, and the number of overs, 5 and under, was only 22%. But when we again go to Afghanistan or Scotland or Namibia, we see the numbers just increasing or improving substantially. So the runs per over 7, 4.8, 6.5. The scoring rate that the opposition batsmen were able to take runs from the Indian bowlers dropping 57%, 42%, 52%. Boundary rates dropping. Consecutive overs of 5 or under going through the roof, 25%, nearly 40%, 25%. And the number of overs that were 5 or under, again, 55, 62 and 55. And if we look very quickly once more at the phases against Pakistan and New Zealand, the opposition batting were averaging 87, scoring at a run rate of 7.3. 51% of the balls were being scored from, 15% boundary rate. And as we again look down the table, those numbers, the scoring rates were increasing all the way through, the boundary rates pretty well increasing all the way through, and the ability to bowl consecutive overs of 5 or under decreasing. But compare that to Scotland, Afghanistan and Namibia, and suddenly look at the runs per over, 6, 4, 6.3 and only 8.7 in the final overs. Scoring rates 38% up to 63%. Boundary rates again reasonably well controlled, and obviously apart from that last period. So I think from this very quick glimpse of the data, it does support the fact that because Pakistan and New Zealand were the first couple of games that India played, they were under siege in the tournament right from the word go, and their batting and their bowling just did not stand up, just did not measure up to those teams. However, once they got their team together, once they got their energy, their ability to deliver on their skills, and we see that against Afghanistan, Namibia and Scotland, albeit that they are lesser teams, they really delivered on what India could deliver, and unfortunately though, it was too late for them in the tournament.